What's up, y'all? It's back with a new video, man. It's been a while since I last uploaded, but we're back. So this is just gonna be a quick little video, man. Just me telling you guys my experience with these multiple hour meditation sessions that I was doing. It was very interesting. I did not know that the mind was truly that powerful. I didn't know that you could reach certain, I guess you could say, altered states of mind through meditation, just through natural breath work. I didn't think that was actually possible or achievable. I thought you could only reach these states through, like, psychedelics and, other types of things, right? But yeah, the mind is really powerful. It's extremely powerful. And I think more powerful than people think. And I understand that this is something that we always hear people talking about. We read it in these self-help books. Napoleon Hill talks about it. Joe Dispenza, David Goggins, right? They're always talking about how the mind, how powerful it really is. But I think until you really actually sit down and you just quiet the mind and you really go deep within yourself, that's when you really start to figure out, like, holy shit, the mind's powerful. Like, and it shook me. That's what happened. So I was meditating anywhere from an hour, minimum, maximum 3 hours every single day. For the first 2 weeks, it was going good. I was having a good time. I felt euphoric. I was in a good state. I had no anxiety, no stress, no worries. I felt connected with nature, with the higher power, with my higher self, But then around that 3rd week mark, I kind of started to have, I guess you could say, past traumas from my life. I started to have these kind of come back up again, and I was starting to remember them and almost, in a sense, relive these experiences. So I had like this emotional roller coaster that I kind of went through, and I didn't really think too much of it. I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep meditating. Hopefully it'll pass by. And that was it. So kept on meditating, and next thing you know, it feels like I cannot, differentiate what's real and what's not. Like, my days started to feel like I was in a never-ending psychedelic trip, and it felt like I was losing my mind, like I had no control over myself, and I didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel like I was real. I didn't know who I was anymore, and this is where I started to experience the ego death. So ego death is something that I've always heard about it being achieved through meditation, but I didn't think it was that powerful. I've also experienced ego death through other substances, right? That's generally how I feel like most people experience ego death, just because it's quicker that way if people take other types of substances, right? Whereas meditation, it kind of takes time. You have to really put in a lot of work. But yeah, I experienced this ego death from meditating, and that was kind of scary too, because I just, for the couple days, I just didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel like Raymond. I didn't know who I was. I started questioning everything. Like, why do I do this? Why do I do that? My beliefs. Almost started having like this existential crisis in a way, but let me say this about the ego death. Ego death is something that I always hear talked about. Like, oh, you need to kill the ego's bad, this and that. I always hear this. This is something I've always heard. In my opinion, if you've had true ego death, if you've actually experienced it, I think that the ego is important. It's needed. We all need an ego. It's a person's self-esteem and a person's like self-importance. If you have no ego, when you experience ego death, this is how my days felt like around the 3rd week mark. It felt like every single day, like I was numbed out in a way. Not in a bad way, but I was just numbed out. and it felt like I was almost like dead, like I was just floating in the air. That's what ego death feels like. It's a scary thing to go through. It's a scary thing to experience. Like you just forget about yourself, and it just feels like you don't exist, you know? So that's what shook me, and that's how it felt for me for like a couple days. And then eventually I felt back normal again. But another thing that was interesting too is around that 3rd week mark, for the first time in my life, never experienced this before, but for the first time in my life, I had a panic attack, and I had it twice. My mind, I was having these racing thoughts, and I felt like I was going insane, felt like I was losing my mind. I didn't know what was going on, and it just felt like I had taken some substance or something, and I was just going through like a bad trip. That's what it felt like. But in reality, I didn't take anything. I was just, I guess you could say, getting high off my own supply, right? I was just meditating for multiple hours every single day, and it just felt like couldn't differentiate what was real and what was not. And I don't know how, I don't know how any other way to put it, but that's just how I felt, and it was a scary feeling. So around that 3rd week mark, I had to really, I got shook. I didn't let anyone know in my family, any family, any friends, what I was going through at the time. I just didn't feel like myself. I didn't want to tell anyone because, I just kept it to myself. But yeah, having a panic attack for the first time in my life, like that, was very, felt pretty scary. I thought, I was like, oh shit, is this it? Am I done? And then I had it again the next day, but even going to sleep was pretty hard for me. I just couldn't sleep because my mind was just racing. I've never had that. And it's interesting too, because it's funny to think about, because my first panic attack was from meditation, right? That's what's funny about it. But it was from me going too deep within myself, doing these, deep sessions of meditation, multiple hours. That's what it came from. It's not like I had a stressful event or something in my life happen and, a panic attack occurred. No, it was just through meditation, which I thought was just that's kind of what was funny to me. But now I feel normal. I feel like myself again, right? I haven't had any panic attacks. But that was also something very eye-opening. And I also did some research, and I also found that I read an article, and it showed that too much mindfulness can actually be a bad thing. And I didn't know this. I didn't know that too much, there was a dangers, or there was these quote unquote side effects that someone could get from too much meditation. But what it felt like to me, y'all, is for that last 3rd week that I was doing it, is it just felt like I was in this, I was seeing the world for what it really is, what it really was or is. My perspective, my perceptions, everything just changed. The way I looked at the world, the way I looked at everybody, the way I felt about myself, it just, I don't know, it was just rapid changes happening so fast. It was just too much to kind of take it all in. And but the scariest part is just that I felt like I was in this never-ending trip, and I was just never coming out of it. That's the scary part about it. And felt like I was seeing the real world, or this world, this physical world, but I was also kind of stuck in the spirit world, seeing the spirit world. I mean, if that's another way I could put it. It was just an interesting perspective. It's just interesting how I was perceiving everything. But so I stopped meditating that 3rd week. I took a whole week off, or a couple of days off, and I've been slowly working my way back up, and I'm gonna go back up to an hour again. I'm just gonna take it slow this time, yeah, I'm just gonna do that instead, because I was just going all in, and so yeah, that was my experience. It was very interesting, and I've actually done some research. I've read up on if anyone's had any similar experiences like this, and yes, it is a real thing. People do have very interesting. You could have these crazy experiences through meditation. I didn't even know that meditation-induced psychosis was actually a real thing, but when you check it out, it's really a real thing. So it's all interesting. It's very all interesting how powerful our minds really are. But with everything that I went through over the last week and everything I experienced, there's all lessons to be taught in that. So I'm extremely grateful, and I'm gonna keep on meditating, right? But I'm not gonna do it, how I was doing it before, just being reckless. I'm obviously gonna, take my time now and work my way back up. So I've been meditating over the last couple of days for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 30 minutes. So I'm slowly working my way back up to an hour again. But yeah, so that's just my experience, just in case if anyone, is experience if you're gonna get into meditation, I think this is just something to know about, to be aware about, and yeah, just know that those emotions they pass through, they flow through, and eventually you'll be fine in the end. But yeah, that was my experience over the last 3 weeks, and it's powerful stuff. So I'll keep you guys updated in the next couple videos. I'm gonna be making some more, getting back on here, gonna start doing some more health videos for you guys. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.